Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please forgive my voice. I am full of cold again. This year has been terrible for health for me. Hopefully I'll be over it soon. But today I'm sharing this little shadow box card that I made using this Pawsome Stamps Cozy Fireplace stamp set. It's the Pawsome Stamps Instagram hop today, Thursday the 1st of December 2022. And I wanted to share how I made this little card with you. So I have gone ahead and coloured and cut out all of my images, and I'm going to start with this fireplace. I've just zoomed in a little bit here. I'm taking a craft knife and very, very carefully I am cutting around the edge of this fireplace piece. So I just want to cut the flame area, like the inside of the fireplace, out. I'm not using a ruler. I'm doing this freehand, but I am being very careful, as you can see. So just if you're doing this, you can either use a ruler for the straight edges. Obviously, you won't be able to use a ruler for the curve, but just go very carefully and steadily. And it's not hard to do as long as you just take your time and do it nice and steady. So I've left this in real time for you so you can see exactly how slowly I'm going through this. So really taking my time to get it exactly right without trying to mess it up, because obviously I've gone to the trouble of colouring everything. But you will see I do end up messing up here, not with the cutting, but with the next part, which I was gutted about. But I've left it in again so that I can show you and you can see how I fix it. So I'm almost there with the cutting, just going around the final corner piece, and there's just a few little bits that I just need to trim off at the end there. And once that's done, I'm going to remove that centerpiece, and then I'm going to get out a dark grey marker. I don't have the black Copic, so the closest I have is N8, and I'm just going to use that to go around the edge that I've just cut. Now watch what I do. Whoops, a big mistake. I've drawn all the way across my lovely colouring. What am I going to do? I'm like, oh, I really don't want to go to the trouble of stamping and colouring again and going through all that cutting. So I'm taking my W0 marker, which is the colour that I use to colour the kind of lighter part of that brick piece, and I am literally pushing that or tapping that marker onto that piece, and I will keep repeating that over and over and over again. And eventually that marker will kind of dissipate. It's not 100% perfect, but I think it's good enough. So now I have a piece of grey cardstock that measures 24 centimetres by 5.5 centimetres. And for those of you that work in inches, that's about 9 7/16 by 2 3/16. So what I did was I measured the fireplace, figured out how big that was, and then added, doubled that and added another 10 centimetres and another 1 centimetre. So I'm scoring or putting some pencil marks at 6.5 centimetres, 11.5 centimetres, 18 centimetres and 23 centimetres. That's so I'm going to have 6.5 centimetre width on each end. For the end that's my fireplace, a 5 centimetre kind of depth to my box, and then a 1 centimetre tab. I hope that makes sense. You can see where I'm scoring here. So the two longer pieces are the kind of front and back of the box, and then the two 5 centimetre pieces are the sides of the box, and then a 1 centimetre tab. I hope that makes sense. I'm using some Dove Grey cardstock from Concord and 9th, and I have the Dove Grey ink here, and I've pulled out a brick wall stencil, and I'm just kind of very roughly adding some brick stenciling detail to this grey piece. What I want it to look like is like the fireplace itself. So on the fireplace there are some darker bricks, and then the rest of it is lighter. That's the kind of effect I'm going for here with the stencil. So I'm just stenciling kind of in little spots rather than doing the whole thing, and just to get that kind of effect. And my stencil is obviously not big enough to go all the way across, but it's easy enough to line up with these bricks. So I'm just moving it across and lining it up and carrying on where I need to. So I'm just getting to the end here now. Just got a couple more movements of my stencil that I'll need to do. So again, just popping a little bit of ink down in various splotches just to make those bricks kind of a little bit darker, and you kind of get this nice pattern, which is really lovely. And I'm just going to go all the way to the end, although you're not going to see anything on that tab piece, but I just wanted it to kind of flow nicely. But once that was done, I felt that there was a bit of a gap in that bottom piece there, so I took my stencil back in, lined it up again, which is easy to do, and then just added a little bit more ink there at the bottom. So once that's done, you can see it's all finished. I am going to take my fireplace piece, which I cut out that centerpiece from, and I'm just going to lay it on the front of that first part of where my score lines are, and I'm going to trace around that opening. Then I'm going to take my craft knife and just around the outside of that pencil line, I'm going to cut away a piece. Now this doesn't have to look pretty or be perfect, just need to make it slightly larger than the opening that you've got in the fireplace itself. So just roughly done that, and once that's done, I can attach my fireplace onto that front piece. Now you just want to make sure that you attach your fireplace to the left side of that score line. You don't want to glue anything over that score line because you want your box to be able to bend around, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So I'm attaching that on over that opening. It lines up perfectly because I've measured everything out, and you can see when I fold it over that it just goes right up to that score line but not past it. So I will go ahead and fold all of my score lines and reinforce them with a little bit of a bone folder tool type thing I've got there. And once that's done, I can start putting everything else together. So you can see how my box is going to form there. I'm going to glue my other little pieces on. So I have 3 little stockings. Now, when I first made this originally, I decorated my stockings with the initials of each of my children. I have 3 children, so they each got a stocking each above the fireplace. This time I just decorated my stocking using some gel pen and just doing some little different designs on them. So one I've left plain, one I've put stripes and one I've put dots on. So I glued those down with liquid glue. Then I'm going to attach my kind of, what do you call this again? Like the bow that goes above the fireplace. But I'm just putting glue around the bottom half of that because the top sticks over, and just on the bottom edges. That's really going to bug me. I can't think of what it's called. It's got it completely out of my head. So now before I do anything else, I'm going to get some black cardstock and I'm going to stick it down into that piece that you're going to see through the back. This is going to be the back of my fireplace, if you like. So again, I've just cut it slightly smaller than that, that inside scored piece because I don't want it to go over the score lines. I want my box to be able to fold around it nicely. Then I'm going to place my little fire piece that I'd cut from the center of my fireplace so that you can see it through the back. So this is going to be my little chimney, and you'll be able to see the fire kind of blazing away in the back of the fireplace. That was kind of the look I was going for. So I'm gluing that down and just checking that it's in the right spot. And once I'm happy, I'm going to use some liquid glue to close that tab. You could have used double-sided tape, but I just decided I had my liquid glue there that I would use that. Takes a little bit longer to set, so you just need to make sure it's all set before you start wriggling it around too much. And that is it, my little box card pretty much done. And you can see that kind of brick detail all the way around. So just on the back, so that I have a place for my recipient to write a message, I'm just putting a piece of white cardstock. It measures 5 centimeters by 6 centimeters, so that fits nicely in that back piece. And that is it, all complete, my little box card ready to go. And I thought that was kind of a cute idea. Please excuse my voice. I'm so sorry for being so croaky today. I hope you're having a wonderful day and not sick like me. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And please do subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you come back. Thanks for joining me.